suggest one reason why interpretations 1 and 2 give different views about how Stalin maintained power in the 1930s. You may use sources B and C to help explain your answer. 4 marks. Here's the mark scheme for this question, which you can find out about in more detail in our overview video. But we do know that all 4 marks here are awarded for AO4, which is your analysis of interpretations and their differences. So in the previous question, we decided what that difference was, but now we need to try and account for it or explain why there is a difference in the first place. Now, in order to score in the top band, you need to show that your explanation is analytical and developed. So that means that you've stated your reason for why you think there might be a difference, and you've explained it in detail. You've linked it back to the question. You might even bring in a little bit of detail from your own knowledge. You don't have to, but if it supports what you're saying, that's quite a good way of explaining your answer. You've stayed relevant and focused on the question, and you've structured it in a way that's easy for the examiner to follow. It's really clear what you're trying to say. There are lots of points you could make here, so as long as what you say is relevant and correct, the examiner will accept it. But let's take a look at an example. So you might say that the interpretations could have utilised different sources. Now this is a great opportunity to bring in sources B and C, as the question invites you to do so. You could say that interpretation 1 relied on source B, because that depicted Stalin as a powerful leader through a propaganda poster. And you can just explain this in a little bit more detail, make a few more links and really explain your point clearly. But then you need to give the other interpretation. So you can say, whereas interpretation 2 might have utilised source C, which depicts Stalin as a ruthless and brutal dictator who used terror to control people. So that is a really good point. It's very developed because you've explained your thinking clearly, you've brought in evidence from the sources and the interpretations. So that is a really, really great way to try and score in the higher bands. But do take a look at the rest of the points here to see if there's anything you could have added to your answer.